All right. I'm going to eat and talk. I don't give a shit. Because obviously, you know, for all intents and purposes, let's put some music on here. I'm not going to try and act cocky, but, you know, I consider this a victory. So we need some victory music here. So this is Sunset's Chicane, set 434 from the 12th of May.
This is the sound of chicane.
Sunsets.
Sorry.
Silver Shoulder there came out around this time last year, and it's called 2 AM. Before that, the one and only Brian Eno with Deep Blue Day. If you don't know who he is, you need to look him up. He is the man responsible for producing U2 and doing amazing stuff. He was in Roxy Music, if anyone you know who they were either. It's an ambient piece. It was originally written from an album, Apollo, Atmospheres and Soundtracks. So it was written about the moon landing. So you might recognise it because it's used in the film Train Spotting, and Ewan McGregor is going for a little swim in the toilet. There's a scene that sort of you'll never forget if you've seen it. Now, if you've heard the show before, each week we let someone take control of the show for a few minutes as we hand over to the soundtrack selection. Now, anyone can have a go. We've got a voicemail line that's set up 24 hours a day to take your messages. So all you need to do is tell us who you are, where you are, what soundtrack you'd like to hear, and why. The number to call is +44. Maybe one of those days. The number to call is +44 800 775 112. We're looking for some new people. Give us a shout over the weekend if you get a chance. This week's selection comes from David and is all the way over in Hong Kong.
Hi Nick, this is David in Hong Kong. This track was featured in the official Sun and Bass 2019 after movie. Sun and Bass is an annual D&D festival that's held in Sardinia. And this is A-Sides featuring MC Fabs, who sadly recently passed away. And it's a beautiful song called Arctic. Keep up the good work, Nick. Cheers.
Be part of the Sunset Nation.
Chicane presents Sunsets.
Syncopation. All right, good enough. So today was supposed to be my court appearance for a criminal harassment charge laid against me by an ex-girlfriend and 3 former friends, which we were all in the same friend group at one point in time. Now, as I cited in my video, and I tagged this, I was hoping through tertiary means or secondary means that, the communication would get through, because, the traditional means of communication, and again, I'm going to include this with the history of propaganda because it matters, right? The legal system, since propaganda is so ingrained, and the weaponized actions, right? Because the art is inspired by an idea and a motivation, and then put into a manifestation, so created into an actual image, which doesn't have to be like a pictorial. It can also be a video. It can also be live action role play, right? So say like a demonstration, right? Or by conspiratorial terms, a false flag operation, or deception. This is I have this video up here. It's from Best Film Archives. It was done in 1965, and it's called "The Science of Spying: Secrets of the CIA." And the principles don't really change with intelligence and with gathering of evidence and establishing a line of behavior. Because a historian like myself, right? I learned how to do documentation, and it's absolutely essential as an aircraft mechanic to cover my tracks and my backside, with the supporting documentation, because the aircraft doesn't fly without the logbook and what's been done to the aircraft. So I understand to some degree contract law, and also, the legal implications of what I do for a profession, because everything has a consequence, right? And what I'm leading into here is that, as I said in my statement, in trying to communicate to the legal system and those that be, that at the point in time of weakness, I was not criminally responsible because I was coming off of nicotine, and I was at a very high stress situation. Facing basically zero income after being manipulated by several AMOs as corporations with high expectations and low tolerance, is basically zero tolerance for inability to fulfill the contract, because there's so many loopholes within the contract that are glaring. It's so blinding as to how much liberty and leeway they have with individuals as private contractors or small businesses, which I am considered as myself. But when it comes to person versus private person, obviously the law is a little bit different. I don't know. I don't have full foreknowledge of the entire thing, but I'm looking at the Victims Bill of Rights from 1995 here. So I'll reference that, and then the Criminal Code. And I was looking at wrongful accusation or conspiracy for defamation of character, because basically the threat was the legal threat is that I did not harass this person. I did not harass these people. I continuously asked them for help, and through discovery, right? Again, I want to credit my lawyer. I'm my paralegal. He's a very smart individual. I just couldn't pay him. I could not pay him, and I could not find any means to put myself back into business. Again, these are all statements to accord onto the record. Because it needs to be said. Because again, there's people out there that use the legal system to use and abuse and manipulate the legal system in order to exert revenge or to express their insecurities. And so, any line of communication is up to interpretation. Everything has been put onto record as to the attribution of these people's characters and my personal experience with them, and as to why I've acted in the way that I have, to a certain degree, knowing their previous history and their dependencies and the psychological profile that is painted with a few brushes, not with a single stroke. And because the history is there, and the propaganda is there, and the indoctrination is there, and all the failings of the legal system are also there, and the inabilities to follow through with a just and fair result, and the fact that the legal system does not need some case like this, basically in limbo and gumming up the works. Right? It's a waste of resources. I am an important person within society. I set the example. I've shown through my line of behavior that I am trying to do as best as I can with what I have, which is basically nothing, right? And I'm trying to set the example as to fall back on previous training and ethics and ethos. Let's put it like that. Because I don't have time for this. I don't have time to be accused of something like this when I work on aircraft and I'm an upstanding individual with no previous record of any kind of violence or criminal activity. Because as a first time offender, right? I surrendered myself to the police when called. I have my fingerprints and my handprints taken, right? I have a multitude of references that would witness and support my character and my reputation throughout the entire aircraft industry across Canada, right? Across the fucking country. I got loads of people that know who I am. Hundreds of people that know who I am and know what I would do, right? Every interaction and every story that I've put online, I've attempted to possibly set a precedent, because it shows an example as to the failings of the legal system, and also to expose the fact that Zoom is not a replacement for in-court appearances. Okay, I know there's difficulty, and then also the fact that if I can't pay, then I go to jail, and then if I go to jail, then the industry loses out on an important person with a high degree of skill, right? And I have no possibility of a comeback, so to speak. I don't have a means of redemption at that point. I can't fix my car. I can't pay my insurance. I'm not willing to let go of any of my material possessions because they're so valuable that if I let them go in order to pay for these legal fees, then I would never get them back. I would never get them back. And there's just some sacrifices I'm not willing to make in my road to be an example to my community, my family, and the organizations that have supported me, my education, my youth training, and so on and so forth. I can't let these people down. That's the end of it, okay? I am not criminally responsible because, again, I will reiterate the point that I was coming down from nicotine. And nicotine is well documented that if you're coming off of nicotine, it will induce psychosis or psychotic episode, and can be attributed to with plausibility and with some proof that it will influence the person, because it is psychoactive, as is caffeine. So are antidepressants and birth control. They all have an influence upon a person's demeanor. Same with alcohol. This is all documented and well known to the legal system. I need not prove it any further. And obviously my lawyer is overloaded. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given me a notice a day beforehand of the court date. And I've proven that okay, so there's some time to appear, and there's nobody there. As I've proved with Instagram, with photographic proof, because again, we live in the age of information and the digital frontier. There are no secrets. There are none. Absolutely fucking no secrets, right? We can predict a person's pattern of behavior based upon their previous actions, not just through algorithmic, but also through observation, because this is the function of law enforcement, right? Is to observe and report. I don't want to. They don't want to intervene. They don't want to get involved into these petty offenses. And if I can't pay, then that gums up the cease that gums up the system more, and it costs the system even more after the fact for sending a creditor after me, and it you know, it's absolutely terrible. I should not be having to deal with this at all. Absolutely none. Absolutely none. This is complete and utter bullshit. That's going to be the end of it. You know, again, and if my ex-girlfriend ever watches this, you know, I miss you, and I love you still. You know, not to appear weak, but some things never change. You know, and when people are unwilling to communicate, that were previously intimate, out of fear, anxiety, or insecurity, then that just proves cowardice. And we can't be cowards in the age of information. There's no secrets. There's absolutely none. And so this is why I will restate that I wish my lawyer, my paralegal, to be paid for his time, because I can't do it. I don't want to waste his time, because this entire thing over the past 6 months since October is an absolute waste of time. It's an absolute waste of time. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of the judge's time. It's a waste of the defense and the end of the prosecutor's time. You know, it should have never gone this far. Absolutely never. You know, the blocking should have been enough. You know, and so on and so forth. Because you know, I've never been violent ever. And every communication I've had that's been deliberate with the police officers within Ontario has been non-violent confrontation. Okay, I've not exactly been nice to the police officers, because, you know, I want them to know that I'm not happy, and that, you know, I'm in a position where I've witnessed, been unwilling participant in human trafficking and of usury within the industry. So again, a multitude of stressors and liabilities, let's be honest with that, because I have responsibilities to fulfill. And this is why I'm going to say, you know, to the London Police Service, thank you for your respect, and it's mutual. And the same with the RCMP and the OPP. Thank you so much for, you know, just doing your jobs. I'm not here to lick your boots or anything like that. But, you know, obviously, I could have had an officer knock at my door at 4 a.m. this morning, but it didn't happen. It was just some lights. It was obviously, you know, a signal. Let's put it like that. That it's up to interpretation. Same with the harassment. It's up to interpretation. That you know, without a community, without support, and without communication, then everybody loses. And when we back down from confrontation, you know, again, because this is part of the history of propaganda, because the message, the medium, not the medium is the message, but this is the message, right? A very pontificated and direct justification of behavior, right? Again, I'm gonna put this out there because I'll make a public record. I want to try and set a precedent if I can, because there's just so much going on out there that's up to interpretation, and so much information and so much online bullying is actually, you know, a part of this again. And then as I've tried to explain my understanding and my knowledge with the dopamine burnout and the changes of behavior that are caused by, not correlated by, the social media and the behavioral modification that therein lies, part of the actual machine. So if I'm going to put this, you know, to conclusion again under 30 minutes, I'm happy I'm not in jail, and that I don't have to worry about that, you know, and you know that I won't be charged as far as I can tell at this point, because it's just gonna stay there forever. Or it's going to be thrown out. Those are my predictions, because we don't have time to continue to support feminist propaganda which the weak-willed and the subjectivity behavior used by extremists within our culture to put high status men into jail or compromised positions so as to usurp the power structure and to actually erode the pillars of justice, so to speak, right? And to tip the scales in their favor. This is not liberty. This is not justice. This is not something that we should be continuing. And I'm going to cite Runkle Bailey here and Diana Davidson. Thank you very much to the both of you. If you do listen to this and you do watch this, I'm forever in your debt for learning from you in one degree or another. Just like all the people that have taught me about being an ACA, so an aircraft certifying authority, and the weight of a signature, because that's the truth, right? We all have a responsibility, and this is why I'm not running, right? I'm not a criminal. I've had to do things that are dirty deeds, and I could be implicated into, but I can't be prosecuted for because of circumstantial evidence. Let's put it like that. In order to do a service to not only to the people that I've been around, but also to the law enforcement agencies and the justice system at large. So I will continue to support you guys as best I can, and this includes CSIS and the Canadian Forces. I'm not crazy. You can watch me come off and settle down into a pattern of behavior, which I forgot to cite also, seasonal depression. Okay. So like, I got nothing to hide, right? Nothing to hide. Absolutely nothing, right? There's no point anymore, because we have to look out for each other, and that's the end of it. And again, to all the women that I've ever loved, if you ever watch this, I still hold you in my heart, and I hope to see you again.